Ray, I want to say this stat because I want people to hear this stat. Do you realize that 50,000 people every year die of a drug overdose? 50,000 people.
So if 50,000 people know one other person, then that's 100,000 people that's being affected.
At a minimum.
At a minimum.
At a minimum. At a minimum.
But then that means there's more than 200,000 to 300,000 people that's being affected that could have changed the life of those 50,000.
So many people that came into contact with that person who was struggling. Listen, I wanted to resonate with people to understand, if you saw on the news that 2 747 enormous airplanes crashed every single week for an entire year, that's the equivalency of 50,000 people dying. I mean, this is more people than died in Vietnam, and this is happening every year. This is an epidemic, and it's something that I think people need to understand and feel those numbers.
Because addiction is addiction when you are addict. That's why it says addict, right?
Yeah.
When you by yourself. But Doc, how can we as a parent, as a friend, as a brother, as an uncle, as a cousin, as a nephew, as a sister, how can we allow that to happen? Knowing we know what addiction is. I get that part. But the part where I'm stuck at is if that many people are involved in addiction, then you really think together we couldn't break that?
And I don't know that everyone realizes how much it is. So, I mean, I think, again, I want this message to be out there. When people start understanding and they hear those numbers, they need to start saying, I can't push it off to someone else. I need to step in myself and start helping.
Absolutely. The only way an addict would know that they're an addict, a real addict, is if you go and sit with them in the treatment.
Yeah, yeah.
Let them know that he's different than me because he ain't in the same position I'm in.
And that you care.
That's what I mean.
And that you care.
That you
That's
freaking
huge.
care.
Yeah.
That's why you go with him.
That's the message that needs to happen. Yeah. You know, something I'm really passionate about is people not judging people, right? I think so many people walk through life and we judge other people. We'll look at them, we'll look at this. And when people are struggling with addiction, that judgment becomes overwhelming because they think, well, look, isn't this something that produces pleasure when they're addicted? So it's not really a disease. But the fact is, if you really understand addiction and you understand the disease of addiction, then you're not going to say there's something that this is a bad person, a wrong person. This is a person who's struggling and needs our help, not our judgment.
Every person on earth has something that they're addicted to.
Yeah, I like that.
Every person does. And I think the biggest issue that we have is if you pay attention to the news enough, if you pay attention to reporters enough, they talk about everybody but themselves.
That's a really good point. That's a really good point.
That's the world we live in. And I think, you know, when you down people who's addicted to something, they may be addicted to drugs, but what you're addicted to is way worse than drugs. And that's selfishness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That resonates with me.
Yeah.
The judgment, I think it's time for the judgment to be set aside.
Absolutely.
And it's time for us to have some compassion and understanding, because that is the only way that we're going to really break through and help people who are struggling like this.
We walk around as if I'm God or if I created me.
Yeah.
Nobody created themselves.
Right.
And everybody has flaws. So let's figure out a way to encourage each other, right? Instead of downing each other or instead of pointing out everybody's flaws. Man, I want you to watch every time somebody reports something, Doc. I want you to watch. I want you to watch their face, man.
Yeah.
The face of the victim, you know why they feel the way they feel, but the face of the person reporting it is hiding something way deep.
Oh, that's true. It's true. You're right. It is time to put aside judgment and just start looking at people with compassion.
Bottom line.